let's get started and talk about what do we want to talk about? Let's talk about the fall season. How about that? So this is our August conversations with your lab, and yes, we're doing it a week early. That's because we did not want to wait to get you this information. We wanted to get it in your hands as quickly as possible, have this conversation as quickly as possible, because from many of you, it sounds like you're starting to shoot, that week before Labor Day, that last week of August. And so we would love to share with you and learn from you and make sure that we are getting ready for this fall together with you. So in this conversation, what we want to do is we want to discuss, what is the fall going to look like for you compared to 2019? Because we know that was the last normal fall we had. We also want to recap what H&H has been up to these past few months, as well as give you a sneak peek on what's coming soon, as well as share with you some resources that you can use to help finish getting ready for the fall if you're looking for those sort of things. But a quick update from the lab. It looks like from the service time text I got this morning that our schools and sports orders are shipping in about 2 to 3 days from when we receive those. And that is right on time with our service time estimates that we post on our website. So if you go to our website and go to any of our school and sports products, you see there's a little table there that says, less than 800 images or more than 800 images. And we show you where we plan on being throughout the year, depending on the time of year. But remember, this fall, that's going to be the busy season for us all. And so we're going to be closer to 4 to 6 days for color correction, rendering, printing, assembly, and packaging, doing all those things that you normally do. It'll be about 4 to 6 days is what our plan is at this point. If you want to opt into those service time texts, text the keyword photo, PHOTO, because none of us know how to spell that word, right? To 816-203-3803. So that's 816-203-3803. Just text the keyword photo. And then every Monday and Thursday morning, you will get an update text from us on our current production lead times based off of orders that are actually traveling through the lab. That's not an estimate. Those are actual measurable numbers. And that will include not only our schools and sports numbers, but also some of the portrait wedding and service item orders as well. So that's a good quick checkup of how's it going at the lab. You can get that twice a week going on there if you're interested. So someone just asked for that number. That's probably a smart idea. So let me pop that into the chat here. Oh, and Amy, thank you. You're already on it. She's already got it in there. So if you want that number, that's in the chat. But otherwise, that's a great way to stay updated on what's happening at the lab and not just where we plan on being, but where we actually are compared to those numbers. But also, I'd love to take this time now in the segment and check in with David. Hey, David, what's going on, man?
Well, thank you guys for being here. And I also want to thank you guys who we sent out a survey. Sean sent out a survey a few weeks ago, might have been a month now, asking about your fall volume. Guys, this fall is particularly critical for you and for us. And I am so grateful that so many of you responded to that survey telling us where you think you're going to be for this fall. We are expecting to be about 20% up in volume compared to 2019. So that's the H&H forecast for this fall. We're also seeing some other labs stumbling. I am grateful we're in the state of Missouri, and for our work environment that's here, our business environment that's here. Things we're allowed to do really what we want to do as far as hiring, and people are available to work and everything else. So what we did, anticipating that volume up, Sean and I did an early forecast this spring with it, and then we confirmed that with the survey, and the numbers really were about the same, about 20% up is what we're expecting. So we started hiring 3 weeks early for fall, which meant we started hiring at the end of June for fall season. And that's quite a bit earlier than usual, and we're paying more for people. We decided to get aggressive and not wait. We started looking around at all the help wanted signs. I'm not sure what you guys are seeing in your area, but there's a lot of help wanted signs in the Kansas City area. And so we got aggressive. We started at $1 more an hour and actually added a bigger shift differential for evenings and weekends. And we're on track for hiring for this fall. We're getting some good people. So we're sharing all that with you, first of all, to be transparent about where we are, what we're planning, but also to give you a picture, of what we're doing to respond, because you may be in a similar situation where hiring staff is one of the biggest concerns we're hearing from folks. And so if you don't have your staff ready for fall, you might want to be prepared to be aggressive in what you're paying up front. The way we looked at it is that paying more for part-time people, which we're finding many more part-time people right now in the market. Folks, we're being pretty flexible on the schedules people work. It is way harder to manage, as you can imagine, when you're looking at the number of employees that we do, to have all the different shifts of folks wanting to drop their kids at school, then start work, and then leave to pick up their kids, and weekend and evening schedules and everything else. There's a lot of moving parts to that. But what we did is, by paying more per hour upfront and offering some more flexibility and some more part-time schedules, it's a lot more bodies we have to train, but we are getting some high quality people. It's actually really impressive. We weren't sure how that was going to work out, but we're getting some really, really good quality humans that are learning fast, that are showing up, that are getting to work and are able to produce pretty quickly. So those are some things that we're doing. And really, this is our managers working together with Katie, our head of human resources. She spoke, I think, in the May meeting that we had. Katie's pretty sharp, and she's been pretty aggressive, and our managers have rallied around. And Matthew, maybe you can wave to everybody. Matthew's an intern that I hired this summer to work for me, but really he's been on loan more than half the time to other managers, haven't you, to help out in all the different areas of the lab. But he's been running some business analysis for me, some statistics, and he's a business college student, and we've known Matthew and his family for a lot of years, and he's been a great help to me and to the other managers this summer in getting ready for fall. So we're trying some things different than we have in the past, and it's working. So Sean, is there anything else? Amy, is there anything else you guys can think of? Terry, that on the staffing part of things that I'm missing that I should mention? No, okay.
I think the biggest thing is just to say thank you for participating in that survey so that we could make those smart decisions to help support you this fall.
Yeah, staffing for fall has always been a challenge to know exactly how many people to hire. So you guys, when you respond to those surveys, that really helps us, especially coming out of this last year. There's so many moving parts coming out of COVID, the growth of the independent, LifeTouch struggling. There's a lot of different moving parts to that. And so your response has really helped us a ton. Thank you. And we feel like we're ready. And hopefully you guys do too. But my advice would be aggressive about your staffing, because we keep hearing again and again, got another school, got another district, got another school called. And we think that's going to continue. So just be ahead of the power curve is our advice. And then as far as that applies to order entry services, we did, by the way, close down new applications to order entry services early this year because we're seeing so much growth there. And we're handling staffing differently and training differently. Jeff Locklear and Sean are both helping train the new order entry services people this year, along with Michelle and Danielle. So a lot of good stuff going on to help get ready for fall. And production looks like they're ready. So, and the other piece, I guess, would be supplies. You guys are probably hearing supply chain issues across the country. We are meeting with all of our suppliers, have been for a number of months. We're buying more inventory, which is probably exacerbating the problem for everybody else because we're buying more inventory than we typically do. We're buying more ahead. And so we are looking now, we feel like we're in pretty good shape for fall. as far as all the different tchotchke items that we have to inventory for school and sports. Photographic paper, you should see our warehouse. It is stacked with photographic paper. So we're just trying to buy ahead so that we're ready for the season, and there's extra lead time. And I'll say it again. I said it during COVID. I'm grateful. I was grateful then, and I'm grateful now that Wayne and Shirley started the business, and we've been able to grow it so that we have the cash during a slow time of season like this to get ahead of the power curve and our purchasing, so that in supply chain bumps, you guys don't feel those things, that we absorb those internally. The last thing I'll mention is we are talking to the shippers, FedEx, UPS, and US Mail. Definitely plan on extra time in transit. There is a duopoly in the shipping business of FedEx and UPS. Those are the only two players really other than US Mail. We don't think US Mail is going to get better. We don't think FedEx and UPS are going to get better this fall season. They've experienced 7 years of growth and volume in 1 year. And they are trying to hire people, but it is count on an extra day or two in shipping. And we're having to take a look at, we've been pretty free with, it hasn't arrived yet. Would you print it again and ship it again? We're gonna have to take a look at that and allow some extra days, because almost without fail, every time we've printed and reshipped something, literally the next day it arrives. And it's been 100% waste, and a little demoralizing, honestly, to be so responsive and ship things out again and print them again, and then just have them show up the next day. So count on a couple extra days in shipping. FedEx has typically been 99% on-time delivery. So if you buy 2-day service, it's arriving in 2 days. If it's 3-day ground, you're getting it in 3. If it's overnight, it's arriving. They're running about 85% on time right now. And the problem is that it's not consistent. We can ship 2 orders on the same day. One will arrive on time and the other will sit in a truck in a parking lot somewhere because the driver doesn't show up. And it'll be 2 days later when someone finally gets in that truck and drives it. So it's not first in, first out in all cases. So there's a little bit more uncertainty around that we're all going to have to adjust to and plan for this fall. And just know that that's coming. So as you're planning your makeup days, as you're planning your schedule, allow a couple extra days for shipping, because you're likely to use it a lot of times this fall. Trying to think if there's anything else. Go ahead.
I would say the biggest thing, and I'm seeing all the faces in this group, and so I'm pretty confident you all already do this, is just be really conservative with under promising those service times, so that you can maintain those and hopefully over deliver instead of under deliver. So give yourself a couple extra days, give yourself that time so you can keep those promises this fall.
So any questions you guys have about any of those topics on staffing, on lead time, on shipping, any of those things? Okay. Awesome. The other thing I'll mention, we've had a few questions asking about price increases for fall in school and sports. You guys obviously printed your flyers in spring, and without a doubt, costs are going up across the board everywhere. On shipping, on our supplies, everything is going up. We've made the decision, a couple of people asked this spring and we said, no, we were not planning on price increases for fall. We have long felt that it's not fair for a lab to make price increases make price increases right before a season when you guys have already printed your flyers. We are holding that for school and sports. There are not going to be price increases for this fall. Of course, we'll all have to take a look at that. We're anxious to see if this settles out, because we know that some of the changes, the percentage changes, are somewhat because of price deflation in some cases. At least that's what our fearless government leaders are telling us during COVID. We're going to try to ride this out and absorb those ourselves. So far, that's the plan. That is the plan for this fall. No price increases, so you don't have to worry about your flyer or your costs changing.
I know this is mostly a schools and sports related conversation, but I do just want to take 30 seconds, David, and I know you're off to another adventure today. Tell us what you're off to. What are you doing today and tomorrow?
Well, I'm headed over to St. Louis for Glitch Weddings. So this is an online show that Sal Sincata is putting on. So I'll be making a presentation around noon tomorrow for, it's basically a live broadcast for Glitch. So I'll be doing that, and we see a lot of opportunity, continue to see a lot of opportunity in the portrait and wedding side of the market. And we think there's some places that's being underserviced. And so we're going to be listening and looking to grow that side as well. I think we have a pretty darn good system, and that we're going to continue to invest in heavily for schools and sports. But that has a lot of momentum, and portrait and wedding as a balance for the full service studio and for the lab is important. And so continuing to invest in all the other parts of the business as well is strategically important for us.
Also, another few other announcements are we just launched the QR Match Workflow Training course on our training.hhcolorlab.com. So this is our free online course that will walk you through the recommended QR workflow process step by step. So one of the great things about this is you don't just get to watch the process, you actually get to practice with the workflow as you follow along. So what that means is after you familiarize yourself with the process, you'll be able to download a sample project the instructor's using and follow along through that entire process step by step. Now, this is a great way to see what this workflow looks like if you're not sure if you want to do QR match or not. Or if you know you're going to be using QR match and you need to be training some of your staff on this process, this could assist you with that. And that's a free course. Also, as a bonus to that, we also are giving a workflow checklist for the QR match workflow. So you will get a copy of the QR match workflow checklist. Now, this is the process that you're being taught step by step. We've put that together into a checklist that you can download and print off so that you and your team can use to make sure you don't miss a step. Amy, thank you for posting a link to that in the chat if you're interested in using that. It's a course that you could complete in an afternoon if you wanted to on learning that. And the great thing about that is you can use and reuse and repeat until you're very familiar with that process. So if that's interesting to you, feel free to check that out. Use the link in the chat window or just head over to training.hhcolorlab.com.
Sean, is that like a shoot day?
So it is. So we're going to go through the process of setting up the project, printing off the cards, how to pose your students with the cards, and then step by step on what to do when you get back to the studio on how to work that up and get that package order submitted as quickly as possible. So the entire thing. So it's a free course. Check it out. There's no cost to you. It's just one of those things that we feel like we can use to help you. We've seen some growing popularity in that workflow. And so we want to make sure that you are comfortable with that and understand what is the best way to actually work up those orders in HH schools when I'm using that process.
And I will say, we did a survey as part of the survey earlier this summer. Sean was asking how many people were using time sync match and the different workflows. We did add QR code match, and a number of people are finding it certainly was very beneficial during COVID, and some people are sticking with that. But that does not indicate that QR code match is a replacement for time sync match. The vast majority of people are still using time sync match. It's a great workflow. There are advantages of the time sync match, and there's the advantages of QR code match. So if you'd like to talk that out, let us know. Honestly, at this point in the season, if you're used to something, probably stick with what you're used to right now. But there are some advantages to each one of those, and they're just different. So So anyway, I just wanted to comment about that. What's that? Okay. Go ahead, Sean.
All right. Also, at the end of August, I think it's August, not the end, excuse me, August 16th through the 19th here coming up in about 3 weeks is our Schools 101 course. So that's going to be our online course. We've done that earlier this year. I think we did it back in May, if I remember right. Don't hold me to those dates, but we are going to do another round of that because we had a lot of folks asking for that. So if you're interested in our Schools 101 online portion, feel free to check that out. You'll want to sign up here in the next couple of weeks. We will close that down for August 16th through the 19th. And so that's basically, we do 3 things. We break down a healthy school photography business model and show you how the numbers work. We help you understand what is important to schools and how to effectively communicate why they need a school photographer. And then we also show you what you're going to need for a school picture day setup that keeps those waiting times short, that keeps your photographers organized, and keeps the schools happy. Again, that's August 16th through the 19th. Yes, this year, 2021. And it's, I think it's $199 is the course fee to sign up for that. I think one last announcement I'll get to, and then we'll move on, is also this is the time of year that you're going to pre-order your Magic Crop credits. We understand that cropping can be one of those most time-consuming post-processing tasks in working up orders. And so we want to help with that. And so we have developed Magic Crop as an artificial intelligence machine that will allow you to crop all of your images while you work up the rest of the project. And then you can review the cropping when the analysis is complete and then submit your order to H&H. From folks that use this fall, we found that this was a great tool, and in some cases even cut cropping time in half with those tools. So if you're using Magic Crop, this is the time of year to go ahead and pre-order those credits. You'll pre-order credits, and then as you're cropping as it crops each image, it will use up a credit for each image that it crops. So you want to kind of think, how many people I'm going to be photographing this fall, add a slight buffer to that, and then order that many credits that you're going to need for this particular fall.
And something else that we added since last fall, we had Head and Shoulders crop. Mm-hmm. We did add 3/4 length for this last spring. And so I would say the machine learning is not trained exceptionally well for sports. There's a lot more poses in sports. Some people are using it for sports. I would say you can get some credits and try some and see if you like it on how you're posing the sports athletes. But it really is trained for Head and Shoulders exceptionally well. I would say 50% or more time savings for most people. And then 3/4 length, we're seeing 40 to 50% savings on cropping time when you pre-crop using Magic Crop. Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, enough of those announcements. Let's get on to the real meat of the conversation here. I want to start off with a quick thought starter. This summer has just been such a crucial time to be intentional, to take a moment and reflect on this past school year, to just take a moment for yourself. I mean, we've all been redlining for how long now? This summer is that window to just take a moment for yourself and rest and recharge, to hit that reset button, and then to get your boots on the ground and start getting ready for this fall. So it is so important to be intentional with your time this summer. And so with that, I would love for you to tell me how you're being intentional this summer. So we've just got a couple minutes here before I want to start talking about some other things. But if you've got something particularly interesting you'd like to share with us about what you've been doing this summer, I'd love to hear from you in that. I know Mark Strickland had a particularly successful fall planning session just recently. Mark, you want to share about that?
Hey, Sean, yes, we had an opportunity to go down and visit family before we get really busy. And my wife and I took time to go down to Green Beach and enjoy the state park. It was a tough day, but we actually sat down and made a lot of plans and a lot of projects that we need to work on for fall and getting our calendars aligned to get that done. So while we did that, that was very successful, and enjoyed the time on the beach in the evenings for a little unwinding of ourselves.
That sounds fantastic. That sounds fantastic. Somebody else, tell me where are you at in getting ready for this fall?
I'll speak. I started this with this Armitris. I started this with no schools when I took the schools 101 class, went to the boot camp and came back. I've mapped out the schools, the private schools in my area, went and saw them, met with them, followed the plan, had follow-up visits, reached out to Jeff Edwards. So I just want to thank him immensely. I have booked 2 of those schools, and I think I'm going to book 1 more. So I think that by this fall, I'll have at least 3 schools under my belt. So thank you guys. The process works.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Matrix. Great job.
Congrats, man. All right, we can end the call right there. I feel good. Talk to you guys later. That's awesome. Seriously, way to go, man. All right, one more. Come on.
I've got one, Sean.
Hey, Lois.
We had booked a few bigger schools, like 3,000 kids, and we only have one photographer. And we have a couple of people that we can call on. But I was going to need some more. So I reached out to a guy that I know in town that does strictly sports photography. And remember, we're in Houston, so it's big. He's way on the far side of town, so he's not going to really start going after my schools. And I talked to him, did he have some extra people that might like some more work? So we've hired on a contract basis some of his folks because they usually just do sports on evenings and weekends. So I interviewed a few of his people and we picked a couple and they're going to work for us. So if you need some more people and you need some experienced photographers, see if there's some strictly sports people out there.
That's awesome. And I'm seeing comments in the chat how people are up 10 schools, they're up 6 schools, they're all ready, they're 100% ready, they're finished getting ready for the fall, and now they're going to take a 2-week vacation, right? That's what we're doing. That's awesome, guys. This is really encouraging. I was worried for you. If I'm being honest, I was a little worried. I'm like, where are we going to be for fall? Are we ready, or are we still kind of tired from the spring? But no, it sounds like you guys have been intentional with your time. So that's fantastic. If you've got any other comments like that, feel free to post them in the chat, or hey, post them over on our HH Schools users group. Let's encourage one another with where are we this fall. I'd love to see those photos of those hard days, Mark, on the beach where you're planning out your fall season, or just, what you're working on. I love those kinds of those updates. Feel free to keep sharing those. With that being said, let's actually talk about the fall season. So we're all over the country. There's, a bunch of us in here, and we're kind of spread all over the place, and I love that, honestly. From what we're seeing, there's still some, some apprehension in the air, but for the most part, it looks like that this is going to be our first regular fall season since fall of 2019. And man, oh man, I am ready for it. I am excited. I am pumped. Bring it on. I am ready to get back to fall season, guys. And for many of you, from what I'm seeing right here, is many of you, it sounds like you're going to be doing even better than you were in 2019 fall season. So what I'd love to hear is, let's spend a few minutes and just kind of share, what is this fall going to look like to you compared to 2019?
Yep.
So anybody tell me, what is this fall going to look like for you for 2019?
Huge.
Huge. In a single word, Neil says huge.
Yep.
Tell me, come on, give me another word. Can I buy a vowel, man?
Very profitable. That was more than one word.
There
But
you go.
it's going to be good. Like everybody else, we're booking lots of schools. So, and more to go. So we're real excited.
Nice.
I'm worried about y'all. I am.
Mm,
I feel better after what Dave said, but it's like, man, y'all are going to get slammed.
bring it on, man. Bring it
Yeah.
on. And I do have to compliment you on your beard foo. You have a very
Oh,
nice,
thank
healthy
you.
looking beard
Thank
there.
you.
Very
Santa's getting ready.
nice. There you go. Awesome. Somebody else.
I feel like for me, a word would be transition. I gained a school in March of last year that someone had just kind of dropped. It was a local photographer, someone I guess who had just gotten older and dropped it, but it was a state school and it went really well. So I have a brand new set of connections to work with. So, but last year was more about building the relationship and, you know, it's a school for the deaf. So it was actually really, really neat to, you know, not only grow that, but grow some new skills and signs and just really connect and make something happen for those kids because they deserve it just as well. And then just got contacted with a new school that I'm waiting to hear back that is pretty much an inner city school that Life Touch just said, see you bye. And they were like, we have school in 2 weeks and can you get us in? And I'm like, yes. And so I've got 2 people like basically on standby that have already said, we will help you and we will help this school. They need pictures just as much. So I'm just waiting to hear back from them. I sent them the contract and my W-9 on Saturday or on Friday. So basically that's 2 new ones that's gonna really, I mean, I'm a 1-person business, so I'm like, I just hire people when I need it. So to me, I'm a little like transition, and then we bought a house this summer, so there was no downtime. When you said that, I was like, I didn't have that. So yeah, I'm a little overwhelmed, but I'm just literally got my list right here of H&H, and I'm, you know, checking off my list, even though I'm like, oh wait, this is 6 weeks. Yeah, no, I'm like 3 days before this one's supposed to be. So anyway, that's my word.
No pressure, right? No pressure. Hey, Chad and Becky, I saw you raise your hands. What's going on?
Well, a little bit of everything, I guess. So we kick off our schools a week from today. And 3 years ago, in the month of August, we were shooting 3 days of the whole month. And this whole month, do we have 3 days off?
Every day's full.
So every day is full except for, I think, 1 day. So it's changed for us a lot, but we have been preparing for it for the last several months. All of our camera gear, our scanners, everything are sitting behind us ready to go. So yeah, you guys are going to be swamped starting next week. We're going to be doing a lot of photos next week. So be prepared.
Challenge accepted, my friend. Challenge accepted. But man, whew, I'm just getting more excited. This is like walk-up music to my ears right now. This is great. What else?
Well, Sean, our school season starts on Monday and we'll be shooting all next week.
Great.
Oh, buddy. Gotta love those registration shoots, right?
Orientation, and then there's well, we've been shooting seniors all summer, and then they'll be on campus seniors too. So we'll be sending you a bunch of stuff.
Thank you. That's awesome. That's great.
That's fantastic. All right. What else?
Are y'all gonna redo the schools 201 that was canceled?
Yes, we are postponing that. Y'all got to learn how to sign up sooner, as what I'm coming down to. So as of last week, we just had a few signups, not enough to really make that group conversation part of that's half the class, honestly, really effective. And so we said, hey, let's postpone, bite the bullet there. I mean, obviously we're going to do it again. And then all of a sudden we had like 4, 5, 6 of y'all like the day before and even today go, hey, can we sign up? Is it too late? So yes, it is too late to sign up. We will reschedule that for later on. So that's not going away, but we are going to reschedule that. My only ask is when you see that up there, don't be a last minute person. We're not going to do a last minute special on any of those. Just sign up as soon as you know you want to be a part of that. And as always, if you're unsatisfied with the quality of the education, then we'll be happy to refund your registration on that.
But you won't be dissatisfied.
But yeah, we're batting 1,000 there. We have not.
Exactly. We have yet
not,
to. We'll be happy to, but we don't think you will. Yeah, and truthfully, guys, the backstory on that was in training our order entry services folks. Jeff Locklear, as I mentioned earlier, has been helping out, and Jeff is on vacation. And so we said, okay, we need to cover for Jeff for training some of our new folks. Hey, if we don't have a lot of people sign up for the 201, let's shift your focus over to training these new employees. And so I'm grateful that Sean, for you being willing to pivot on that and help keep those people flowing into production. And you guys will benefit from that, obviously. But yes, we will reschedule those. Those are an important part. That content is built. And we love giving that class because it helps you grow and almost more importantly, grow in a healthy way, right? Yes. And I hope during this time, we have some time planned to talk about some of the calls that you're going to get this fall and maybe some contacts to say no to and applying some wisdom there.
Yeah. So one of the things that it looks like going into this fall is opportunities will keep coming. And so it is important to understand what a healthy school contract looks like, and that to know that not all opportunities are good opportunities. So having a good framework to compare to is going to be key going into this fall. And so with that, I'd love, Jeff, you've been such a great canary and such a great point of wisdom with these kinds of conversations. Can you just give us like I don't know, I know you got to go soon, but like a 2-minute of what would you recommend for folks like this based off of what you're seeing with those opportunities that are coming out this fall?
So let me get my yellow feather suit on, and then we can talk being the canary. But no, what we're seeing is, and we've talked about in the past, everything that LifeTouch is doing affecting the marketplace. So if you sign new schools at the end of the last school year or shortly thereafter, those are probably pretty good accounts that were not happy with the service they got from LifeTouch. Then, as most of you may or may not know, LifeTouch went through and they ranked their accounts, and they decided to not prioritize what they described as their least performing accounts. And for those of you that came to the 101, and that was primarily done by phone, but for those of you that came to the 101, we had gotten a copy of the email, and it made its way through some of the various different groups that actually outlined, that they weren't going to do certain things. And so that probably triggered a number of calls over the summer for people to book some business. That may not be the best business, but how you frame that business and what you do with it can make that business worthwhile. So if you're new to the business and you don't have accounts, those are probably worthwhile things to look at. For us, we picked up some of those accounts that I knew were low-hanging fruit because we could plug them in on our schedule on days that we had open, plus the things that LifeTouch was taking away from them kind of made it a no-lose situation for me, because they said no commission, no retake day, you're going to get a set of stickers, no ID cards. So we were able to negotiate back on a couple of those things to help reduce the cost and increase the profitability. But I always said there's going to be a second shoe to drop, and that is starting to happen. So what we're hearing about right now is the good quality accounts that may have had registration days, they're being cut on the numbers of days that they're going to send photographers to. So one school that had 2 days for registration in the summer has told, no, you can only have one, and we're going to move it the other day back into the school year. And it's primarily coming from a problem in staffing. So that's going to open up another series of opportunities of dissatisfied customers, because even though they're good accounts, they can't get the kind of service that they've gotten in the past, because LifeTouch can't staff to serve them, even with a reduced number of accounts. So that second round of opportunities is probably going to start happening. For us, it's happening. We're getting all kinds of contacts this week, because when the school year ended in the middle of June for us, everybody shut their stuff off and went home. Well, right now, this week, the secretaries are coming back in, and now the phone is ringing off the hook again with people looking for dates and information and so on and so forth. So there's a great opportunity there. You just have to be cognizant of what you're getting into. In the 101, the 201, we talk about asking questions and why it's so important to talk about commission in terms of dollars, because dollars will tell you how good that account really is. If they tell you they're getting 40% commission and you do the math in your head because they told you they got $1,000, and you stop and think, well, if that's normal participation for my area, that sounds like they're only getting paid maybe 15 or 20%, then clearly there's a problem there. Either there's not the right participation or something else is going on, but it might make you a bit wary of whether you want to plug that school in on a prime day. And that's for those of us that have a full calendar already. So, plugging those schools in on open days. We've also found this year that schools last year where we extended the calendar, schools are willing to extend their calendar this year. And so we're extending our shoot calendar for first time shoots. We're going all the way out to almost Thanksgiving for first time shoots, because retakes and absentee days, there's so few kids, we can turn those packages fairly quickly. So instead of trying to hire more people and put more gear out, schools are willing to move those dates out further into the school year. And that seems to be working pretty well for us. But, I think if you're getting calls over, late to midsummer, you kind of really need to be asking the right questions about those accounts, because, as we said, you want the business in the worst way, and that might be exactly how you get it.
Thank you, Jeff.
Do you guys have any questions about that?
Oh, Mr. Jeff, so what you're saying is that you're seeing that there might be more of a possibility to push off some of those schools to later dates. Just the way I kind of see is with LifeTouch imploding, and like in our area, with LifeTouch imploding, if LifeTouch calls and they're desperate, the school calls and they want us to photograph their school, my hunch is the schools could probably be a little bit more willing to work with you, getting somebody in there that they know is actually going to get the job done and they don't have to worry about it. So therefore, they'll be willing to push it off a bit.
I think most schools at this point are, because the reality is what's happening now is schools are discovering either they're not going to get the dates they want, they can't get all the dates they want, or they're not going to get that kind of service. So it's easy to have the conversation of, you're not getting it now. I'd love to do business with you, and we're going to do a great job for you. But my problem is I only have so much schedule. So if you can work with me to move to this date, then we'll work with you to get you accommodated, especially going into next year. Yeah. And that's an easy conversation to have. And that's the thing that you have going for you right now. There's people that are finding out as they're coming back into school, the secretaries are getting these little
Hey, how are you?
emails and bombs from the competitor that, no, we can't do this, no, we can't do that. And that's what's starting to open up the conversation again. But like I said, the good news is when I see that happening in a school, in an elementary of 800 kids, that is normally been an 80 to 85% buy rate, and they can't accommodate their dates, that tells me a whole lot of what's going to be coming up at us this fall.
Yeah, I agree.
And something else to keep in mind and maybe keep in your back pocket is consider instituting a waiting list, because that's a way that you can talk to schools and sports organizations without feeling like you're obligated to take the business if they say that they're ready. Because I think it takes a little bit of practice to know how to wordsmith it. Believe me, H&H has gotten a little beat up over the years for instituting a waiting list. But it really is about protecting your brand, protecting your integrity, protecting the relationships you already have. And so what we've heard a few people do is that, if you want to call on business that you'd like in the future, but you're not necessarily sure that you can handle it this fall, then just say that up front, to say, look, the outcome I'd like from meeting with you is really just to get to know you. Honestly, we're full right now. We couldn't accept you if you wanted to do business with us because we're scheduled up, and we want to make sure that we are taking care of everybody, our current customers. But we'd love to just get to know you. This is about long-term relationships, and so let's meet and find out what's important to you. And you can always later come back and say, hey, some of the schedule has opened up, and we'd love the opportunity to find a day that we can work you in. But don't not call back. Don't not follow up and make those calls. Just decide right now what you want for this fall and work to that number. And then you can make some choices as you go. And you can say, look, we have a few slots left. We're experiencing some beautiful, wonderful growth, but we're managing that growth. And so if you have some of those phrases in your pocket for those conversations, it can be a very genuine way of keeping the conversation going and teeing up business for next year, even without having to feel like whoever you call, you're going to have to say yes to. Jeff, would you add anything else to that?
David, the waiting list is a great closing tool also, because now you're talking to a school who's kind of panicked a little bit because they don't think they're going to get the service they want. And so again, for me, it's an easy conversation of, well, here's the dates that I have available. Can you work with those? And they hem and haw, or they start talking to you and, well, I got to check with somebody else. So what my response is that's great. What I can do is put you on our waiting list, because we're getting so many calls from this company's accounts. And again, we're going to just use that to play against it. We're getting so many calls from this company's accounts. I really can't hold a date. So I either have to get a commitment, or I can put you on my list and get back to you to see if we have something available. And it adds, because they're panicked, they're in a fear mode, it adds to the pressure of them making a decision and closing and taking dates that they maybe normally wouldn't accept, or making a decision to use you to provide their services. So make it a closing tool for yourself also.
Yeah, that's what we call FOMO, fear of missing out.
Right. But frankly, if you're looking at your calendar and you got a retake day on your calendar, and somebody else is, and I'm gonna have to grab this, that's our freight, our flyers. And so if you have to move a retake date to get a first time shoot on the schedule, because you can always move your retake days around.
Happy lifting, Jeff. Yep. And thanks for these
have a good season, everybody.
Words of wisdom. Talk to you later. Jeff. Bye.
The other thing I would add to that is be very careful in your communication with your schools. We have a philosophy that we never will badmouth a competitor. We'll never speak negatively about a competitor. We feel like there's lots of business out there for everybody, and they're going to do their thing, and we're going to do our thing. And there's actually legal implications. We've had to coach a couple people through a cease and desist letter from LifeTouch, where they would say, they're imploding. Their customer service, they're firing their customer service, they're furloughing their salespeople, and some of those things may be true, but LifeTouch has a robust legal department that will engage you if you do that, and they're within their rights to do that. You wouldn't like it if they did that to you, and so our advice would be just say, hey, are you completely happy with your current photographer? And you can emphasize the things you're good at. You're local, you're personal, you're professional. You have a presence in the community, your reputation, all of those different things. But we'd coach to steer away from saying how badly Life Touch is doing and how they're crumbling or things like that. That might be happening in many markets, but just be careful of that.
Yeah. So maybe it sounds like the next conversation we have should be a little bit more about this particular topic, rolled up into a few other things. But I do know it's already 50 past when we started, and we haven't even got to talk about what's been happening at the lab these past few months. And so I want to make sure we have time for that. And then let's continue these conversations because they are super critical and important to the success of your business. So I want to keep having these conversations, but I know there's some things I want to make sure that you have the information today on. And so that is we just want to do a recap with what H&H has been up to these last few months. And what better way to start that off with our 10 favorite new features of HH Image Host. So our 10 favorite new features of HH Image Host are, in the past few months, we've really been making some big improvements to help prepare for the fall. And we just want to make sure that you're up to date on what those recent updates are. Obviously, we're not going to cover them all, but here are our 10 favorite. So number one, and this is probably our most asked for feature update, and we can finally say we've done it, is we've now added the ability for your customers to place one prepay order for multiple children and have one checkout. So if they've got 2 kids going to the school that you're going to be photographing, they can check out both those kids in that school. And the system will help keep track of which order is Johnny's and which order is Sally's. And that flows into those reports you're using. So you can still expect to use those same CSV order reports that you're pulling out of Image Host and plugging into HH Schools. So that's still a great lightning fast import process that's not been disrupted with this, but that's all through there, which should also make some conversations a lot easier, lighten your customer service load for folks saying, why am I paying for shipping twice if you're charging shipping on top of your orders? Now they can be combined into that single order for that one shipping charge. So all of that, that's number one. I could just stop right there according to some folks right here, but I'm going to go on. One of the other things is we added the option. So this is probably another big request, is we added the option for you to log into HH Image Host on your studio side, go to the orders tab. And currently you can search for orders by using the buyer's name, who placed the order, on the email address, their phone number, those sort of things. You can also now start searching for that child's name. So if they've ordered for one or multiple children, you can do the drop down, click participant name, plug in the child's name, and now you can do searches on HH Image Host for the children's name. Now, this is not a retroactive. It's not something that you can look at spring orders that way, but any orders going forward, so any orders this fall, you're going to be able to search by the child's name as well as the buyer contact information and name. We also added a section to the marketing message composer that allows you to send test emails and text messages to yourself or to your marketing team. So now you can actually see what those marketing messages, those emails, and those text messages look like before you actually start sending them out. Amy, I'm looking at you. Congratulations. Your feature your number one request has been done, and that's there for you. But I know other folks are asking for that as well. So that is there for you. We've also created a new report in HH Image Host for prepay orders called HH Schools Project Setup Data. HH Schools Project Setup Data. Now, this isn't replacing any reports that are already currently in there. So if you're still, using that order CSV report to import all those online orders, continue to keep using that. This report solves a different problem. And what that problem is when the league is not as organized as you want them to be, or they're not as forthcoming with data as you want them to be, you can now start using the subject data from all those online prepay orders to start building out your project in HH schools. So take all of the names, the grade, the teacher, the coach, team name, all that information that you're collecting from those online orders, and it puts that into this report so that you can now start building out your project in HH schools, print off your QR codes, print off your camera cards, your shoot list, whatever those things you're using for that data match system. So now you can start leveraging that data. So if you're seeing a significant amount of folks using online ordering, this is a great way to use that information if you're not getting it from the school or from the league. If you're getting it from them, use that data. But this is just another tool in your tool belt for folks that aren't getting that data, that say, I don't get the data from the league. Now you can start harvesting from here to help save you time and improve accuracy with those image matches.
And Sean, can I jump in for 1 second on that?
Of course.
A common mistake once that idea is planted in your mind is to download all of the data, including package purchases and everything else, and import that into HH schools before you have images. Don't do that. It doesn't work.
No, don't do that.
Because what happens is HH schools is in a different mode when you're creating a project, and it's looking for each row of data to be a different person. So you can imagine that if there's different packages on a different line for the same person, it will create different subjects, and therefore you'll lose the package information you're importing. So that's why we created this other report, is because HH Image Host is doing the work for you of going through all of the online orders, consolidating those into a unique list, and then formatting the data so it's perfect for creating a project in HH schools. Then you print your camera cards, as Sean explained, and then you finish up you do your picture day, and then you can import those online orders just like you always have and merge those back into the data along with your paper order forms. So if you have questions about that, let us know. But that is one common pitfall that we've seen when people have thought this through partially in the past. You'll need this special report that doesn't contain your packages in it. It's done some of the work for you to create a project from your online sales data.
Yeah. Good point, David. Thanks for making sure we communicate that. So number 5, we also added a mobile-friendly form for you and your staff to be able to quickly text or email a customer their event link. So when you get that call from customers that they need to place an order and they're not sure how to get to the site, and you have this whole conversation you have with them that takes 5 minutes times 5 conversations every day, so 25 conversations a day, like it just really starts adding up. We've helped you shorten that conversation by just creating a little tool that you can use either in the office, or if you've got access to the internet on your phone, you can hop on there, fill out this form, and be able to text someone their link so they can go on and place their order right there. So that is awesome. That's also there as well. We've also, number 6, we've updated the layout of the order confirmation page and the order email confirmations. We've updated that layout so that it's easier to reference for the photographer when they're using those on picture day. So I know some of your sports photographers are using that printout that the parents are giving you at picture day. And so we've that report sometime was like 2 to 3 pages long, and information was kind of all over the place, and it was different depending on if you're looking at the confirmation page or the email. So we've standardized that so it looks the same, whether it's an email or the confirmation page, and all the information you and your photographer should be right there at the top for you to use. Also, number 7 is we made it easier for you to personalize those marketing emails by uploading your own custom images and graphics. You were able to do this before, but it's kind of a big workaround to do that. And so now we've added a section in the marketing composer so that you can upload those images directly to that page and use those for all of the broadcasts in that particular campaign. So that's there for you as well. Number 8 is we added an option to create a shipping charge exception. So we know many of you were using the additional charges to cover shipping, but there were some situations where you didn't want to charge shipping. You weren't going to be physically printing something, it was a digital product or service you were delivering. And so you wanted to say, except for this order, this product, don't charge shipping. So you now have that capability on prepay and proof and image host. Number 9 is we uploaded the prospect list. We've updated the prospect list uploader so that you can not have to reformat the list you're getting from the school to just email and just phone number. Now you can take the same file you would normally load into HH Schools and use that same one on HH Image Host Prepay or Proof. And when you bring that in, obviously there's going to be a bunch of extra columns that we don't really need. The great thing is you can just tell HH Image Host which 2 columns are which are the ones you need, and it'll ignore the rest and bring all that data in there for you. So you're not having to scrub reports and make multiple copies of reports so that you can get all the data plugged into the right places. And number 10, and this is simple but powerful, is we added the event name to those order notification emails. We added that to the subject line of those emails now. So before you even open up the email, you're going to know what project, what event are we talking about, so that you know when you're being asked questions of it or when you're looking at that, you can see that information right there in front of you that's on that subject line. But we haven't just been focusing on your online sales experience. We've also been working hard to improve your team's experience and your customer experience as well. Here are some new features and catalog updates that you've seen in HH Schools and Sports and Studio that I think you're going to want to make sure you know about. So check it out. First of all, some new features are we have improved the matching algorithm for our QR match. So we saw some success this fall. We also saw some areas where we can improve. And so we did improve that searching algorithm so that it usually gets a much better search on some of those questionable matches in the past. We also added a larger QR card option. When we originally wrote this, there was a 3-up report. So the card was about 1/3 of a size of a piece of paper, which was great for fall, head, and shoulder shots. Well, we saw a continued popularity in the QR cards going into sports as well as into the spring season, where there's usually a larger distance between the subject and the photographer. And so we added a 2-up version on in HH Schools so that you can have a slightly larger QR code, making that match algorithm work a little bit better for you. Either report works. So you can just use the 2-up or the 3-up. Both of them are great systems. But if you're doing sports and you're a little further away than your typical head and shoulder shot, maybe the 2-up would be a better option for you there. Also, we said this earlier, but I want to re-mention it here, is we've released a 3/4 model for cropping on our Magic Crop tool. So not just head and shoulders, but we also have 3/4 length cropping as well now available for you. Also something, this is an oldie but goodie, that this is probably one of the most unknown, underutilized tools in HH Schools. And that's the ability to look across all of your projects to find someone when you get a customer call or email. You say, I want to talk to Olivia Smith. And you're like, Olivia Smith, who? Now you can, this is a tool that was in there, but it's kind of hard to find, is you can pull up a form and it will look across all of your projects for all of the Olivia Smiths. And then you can select that particular person that you're looking for, and it takes you directly to their image, to their order. And you can even then right click on that image and pull up the order tracking history if you've already placed the order for Olivia. That is our find subject or find orders or look up customer order. That is on that main dashboard page now. So we moved where it was hidden to something's a little easier to find. And we also improved the searching speed for that. So if you're able to find that in the past, if you're one of those folks that had 50, 60, 70 jobs, it could take a little while to search through all of those jobs. We found ways to speed that up and make that searching much, much faster for you. So if you've got 1 job or you've got 100 jobs, you should see a significant speed improvement for searching for those particular subjects. So this fall, when you're getting customer service calls, this is going to be a great tool for your staff to be able to find that particular person's order, get them the information they need, and help that customer as quickly as possible. That's going to be a powerful tool. Catalog updates. So enough of those things. Let's talk about some new products and catalog updates. So those popular coffee mugs that every one of your customers seem to love. One of our most popular layouts was a studio background layout where you get to kind of personalize what that background looks like. In that particular layout, the year that always printed on there was always the current year to whenever you place the order. So if you ordered it today, it would say 2021. If you ordered it January 1st, it would say 2022. We had a lot of folks say, you know what, I want to reorder because my daughter broke my favorite mug, and I want to reorder that. Or they want to get a jump start on the upcoming season and order ahead in some situations. So now we've changed that layout so that the year is now something that you can control. So it's just a text line, just like all these others, that you can either type in some fixed text or you can map it to one of those fields in the project. So now you have the control to do that. Another one is, and I'm going to brace myself for this, 11 by 14 individual prints are now in HH schools. So you may now order 11 by 14s without having to export the image, take it over to HH Studio, place the order for that, bring it back, marry it up, or ship it separately. You can now add 11 by 14s to your packages in HH schools. We've got an unmounted and a mounted version for you in there.
So do me a favor, please don't order your weddings in HH schools.
Yeah, not cool. Not cool. But if you're doing preschools or, volume seniors, and you're going to be offering some larger prints for framing, 11 by 14 is a great one. Obviously, we still have the 16 by 20 and I think 20 by 30 in there as well. But 11 by 14s, they're there now. You're welcome. All right. Another one is the 12 by 18 poster. So when we had this big shuffle last year, we saw a gap in the market where folks were offering this, 12 by 18 handheld. And so we wanted to help out in that situation. And now we have a 12 by 18 handheld poster. I believe the single-sided is 99 cents. And then you can also do a two-sided for $1.25, I believe. So it's a 12 by 18 poster with a white border around the edges, and you get to design the entire space in there, either one-sided or two-sided, so that you can use those. So that's there today. That's in HH Studio is where you're going to find that particular product. Because usually that's more of a fundraiser or printing off, special sponsor posters, those sort of things. You're going to find those in HH Studio. We've moved the hockey puck from the web order form that you were using to being able to order that in HH Studio. So we've upgraded the process and how we're printing those. I think they look fantastic. Sorry, people in the South, I know hockey is not a thing, so you don't really care about this right now. But if you're in a place and you're selling hockey, this is a great product to offer. And you can sell those now through HH Studio. Actually went to a hockey game recently because I don't know, I don't really do hockey very much. Not that I think I want to now though, but they had this interesting thing called Chuck a Puck. Has anyone ever heard of this? It was nuts. Anyway, Google it. Chuck a Puck. It's weird. We've updated the schools and sports. We've updated the sports envelope. So the packaging envelope that the sports prints come into now, that is in that blue and gray, getting the game theme that you've seen in our newer prepay flyer. So that packaging is now matching that particular look. So expect that this fall. As well as, sorry?
We have
Is there
a
a question
couple
on that?
questions. Yeah, we have a couple questions on just some things you've already talked about. So I just want to make
Okay.
you aware. I don't know,
Okay.
if you want to ask them now, or do you want to finish up your?
Let me keep asking those questions in the chat. Amy, if you'll keep me on point with that. I've got a few more updates and then we'll talk about those if that's okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
So so those are some updates there, and you're like, okay, give me the products, give me the good stuff. So one of the things that we've taken away from you, we've discontinued, is those lesser popular photo balls. Those are gone. We kept the hockey puck because that really was the main product we saw people actually buying from us. And so we've kept that, and we've discontinued those other photo balls. But something that we've added is we now have a two-sided aluminum metal ornament. We've seen ornament sales starting to come into various fall flyers and dance flyers and sports flyers. And so we've always had those acrylic ones, the oval and the trace cutouts. But we also wanted to add another version. And so it is a aluminum metal, two-sided. It's a rectangular with rounded corners, vertical one. We've got pictures of it on our website right now if you want to take a look. But it comes with a red ribbon hanger, and it's a two-sided. You get to design the border around that, and then there's a mappable text line in there for you. So those are those metal ornaments there. Also, we've added a few layouts to the Studio Background Chroma series. We've added some group layouts to that because we're starting to see more folks use that, and they've had a few folks request some particular layouts, so we did add those this summer. We also added a different template option to our phone grips. So phone grips was one of those new products from last year. And we've saw some decent success with that and folks, liking that and wanting to use that. But one of the feedbacks, comments that we got was that they liked the product. They wanted to put it on their phone. But for students, high school students especially, they didn't want a picture of their face on the phone, like mom would buy it because it had their child's face on it. But the students really weren't too keen on it because they didn't want pictures of their own face and they didn't want to swap those sort of things. So we've added it's called a Studio Background Series only phone grip. Basically, the concept is you get to upload one graphic and that entire graphic will fill the entire phone grip. So imagine putting the school mascot or the school logo or the class of 2022 on these things and being able to print those out so that those students and the athletes will both be more interested in those particular phone grips as well. So that is there also. And then lastly, and then I'll stop from there, is we've got this, we've added another layout to our package inserts. So we've had the 4x10 and the 8x10 for the schools, and we've had 4x10s for the sports. Well, we now also have an 8x10 insert, package insert for sports photography now. So the layout is designed a little bit more towards the sports photographers than for schools. That one does include a QR barcode on there on those inserts. That's been a very popular option. That QR allows parents to scan that barcode and it takes them to the second sale site. So if you're not using HH Image Host second sale, I wouldn't recommend this particular layout. But if you are, like we recommend, this is a great way to help parents who want to order more get to the place where they can do that as quickly as possible. They just grab their phone, scan the QR, and the link takes them right to your second sale site where they can just plug in their passcode and see their images and order for their kids. So those are the products we've come out with in this past few months. I want to make sure you're aware about. I've got another shorter list that I want to talk about on what's coming up that you should expect to see before or around Labor Day-ish. But let's pause here. Amy, what are some of the questions that we're getting about the products we were just talking about?
All right, I just have two questions. One was with HH Image Host.
Yeah.
And it was about the number of, you go back up, and the number of teams that we're allowed to put in is 22. Is there any thought of expanding that?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll go ahead and give it away. That one away is we are going to be expanding that list to, I think we're going to go expand that list to about 35. But let's talk about that for a second, because I don't know about you, but once I get to a list that long, a little bit longer than that, scrolling through that list on my phone is kind of a chore. Like I think about whenever I have to use, put in a shipping address and I have to scroll through all of the A's, B's, and C's and all of the M's to finally get to Missouri. And there's only 50 options there. It gets a bit long and intensive. So we're looking at, is there a way to create a better experience for a longer list? Because I know in some situations, some of those larger leagues or dance photographers even, they need more than 35 options even. But I'm worried that when we get past 50 and beyond, that it starts to get a bit too long and harder for folks to find the particular team they're looking for. But what are your thoughts about that?
That was my question. And my thoughts are, so if you had multiple drop-down menus but allowed me to have 35, 40 per drop-down menu, that would be a world of difference. I think I was capped out at, I think 3 drop-down. I can't remember exactly, but then it became, I couldn't import the information. It was a hot mess with the
That's
dance
the
studio
other
that
thing.
it was such a mess.
Yeah,
And it
so
took
the other
up a
thing
lot of
is-
extra time. And, you know, this is just, to me, I'm not a programmer, a quick thing for customers to go, oh, yes, I know my dancers in, you know, 5 to 8 different classes. And yes, they're in this studio on Tuesdays. So for us, we could have Monday through Friday and their class times. And that's the drop downs. So a week's worth of drop downs, 30 to 50 pictures, and then each drop down menu would be my favorite.
Yeah.
So
But I
for
think
you, it
you
would be
brought
a
up
sub-
another.
a sub menu, a sub selection. So the classes on Tuesday, so you select Tuesday and then have a list of classes that are on Tuesday.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
And
think another point you've brought up is that you can't import that list. You have to type all of those in one at a time, or copy and paste them all in one at a time.
well,
think-
just the particular class, it doesn't import into the proper class for the dancer, for instance. So then I had parents choosing, they were actually ordering multiple classes on one subject line, but only paying for one package. So it's not necessarily an import issue. It's also the clients are super confused. How does this work? And, you know, Yeah.
And I also think populating that list, that you're having to type that list in one name at a time, that we already have that list from other sources, whether we're getting it from the dancers or we're, you know, putting it into HH schools or something, that it would be nice to just be able to import that list of options as well. I'm thinking that would be another good thing. That's interesting.
yeah, the more information, the easier it is for them to navigate through and choose the correct million teams that they are a part of. Soccer
Yeah.
is another issue with 80 plus teams in this league that I have coming up. I mean, we could easily have dropped down menus of age brackets if it's easier for them. Oh, okay, it's the 13U classic teams, and, you know, easy enough to have someone choose that. That would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. What we know what's driving this is originally the thought was just have them type the name of the team in, but when we're depending so much on what the parents type in to match what's already in the project, that just gives you a lot of Excel cleanup time, doesn't it? To have to go in and clean up all those names. So we get it. So that's what we're looking to do in the very short term is to expand it to the 35 that Sean's talking about. But then the next step beyond that, to add some more capability, whether it's the nested or the ability to search from by typing in text and it pulls up, it does some intelligent match text on those, something better than what we're doing today. So that won't be by Labor Day, I don't think, right, Sean? But this fall, we're looking at that.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So we're on it. We hear you loud and clear. And when we get a little closer, we may reach out and ask a few questions on that.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks for speaking up and asking about that. Amy, what else?
That's our matrix. I was asked by one of the schools I picked up if they could get QR codes on their ID cards instead of barcodes.
Yes, you could do that.
Oh,
Yes.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
You'll
when
work
you
with our,
go ahead, Tom.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
So yes, we have our standard designed cards that are available, but you can we can also custom design cards for you, which is pretty common, and it's pretty inexpensive. So when you talk to customer service, ask for the design team, and Anne and her team can, if you have an example of what the school is looking for, and you can send us the way that looks, we can custom design you one that includes QR codes and lots of other kinds of features that you might want as well.
Amy, were there any other questions?
No, not that I saw.
Okay. Well, if you do have any more questions, please call customer service or reach out to myself or David. We'll be happy to answer some questions for you. But I do want to give you a sneak peek, because you've stuck around this long, about some new products and features that are coming up in the more soonish time of period. So we're targeting around Labor Day for some of these features, but I want to at least let you know they're coming so that you can plan accordingly, because I know you're making final preparations for fall right now. So I want to make sure that these are on your radar. So last year, with everything that happened, virtual teams was a very new thing for a lot of folks that they had to do in order to have a group photo. Some folks, they were able to have other options and and be able to photograph a group photo, whether it's traditional or creative. But for some folks, they had to switch to a virtual team photo or virtual group photo. And so we have found that a lot of folks were outsourcing it. We're using a company called Rebuku, Rebook You. And so we've decided to partner with them and create an integration for virtual groups where you can use your data match that you're used to using with HH schools and then place a simple service item order to get all those images, all of the information they need to them quickly so that they can build out your virtual groups for you. You'll still be able to do your proofing process that you're normally used to using with them. And then once you've approved those designs, grab those images, load them into HH schools, and then place your order so you can have everything packaged and shipped and delivered together. So that integration is being worked on right now, and we hope to have that out before Labor Day is the plan for that. We know a lot of folks have gone back to traditional groups and traditional, whether it's creative pose or stacked teams, those sort of things. If you have that opportunity and the business model is right, I would say you should probably go back to that. That's still a great, successful way to do group photos without adding extra time and costs. But if you've seen opportunities where you can start charging more for virtual teams, or that you're in a situation where you still aren't able to photograph virtual groups, then we want you to be able to do that as quickly and efficiently as possible. And that's why we're continuing on with this particular integration with them. Also, we know ship to home was huge last year. It was popular before COVID. It was super popular during and after COVID. And one of the problems with that is there was a huge increase in people using it. So there was a huge increase in the workload on the USPS system, and they started having some deliverability delays. And so with that, you were getting calls with your customers saying, "Where's my order?" And you felt like you're in a situation where you said, "I can tell it's shipped, but after that, I'm not sure where it is and if it's been delivered or what's going on with it." And with that, we wanted to add another ship to home service option for you that is a parcel shipping. So it's going to be a little bit higher rate. But what that allows us to do is that we can now add tracking to that order so that you can use the USPS system to track customer orders whenever you get those calls from them. So when you get a call from a customer and you've ordered this particular service, if you right click on their image and pull up that subject or image order history that you're used to using, if you've ordered this tracking service, this ship to home parcel service, then you're going to be able to see the tracking from the USPS website on where that particular order is and if it's been delivered. So we'll still have the lesser expensive flat rate, which I believe is like $285. That's a flat rate that includes shipping. That's for flat rate. So a flat means non-bulky items, so no coffee mugs, plaques, water bottles, those sort of things. And then the parcel service can include those things and will also include tracking. And I believe that service we're going to have at $499 is going to be the price for that. So $285 for flats or $499 for the parcel rate. So that will be coming out very, very soon because we know that's going to be important for many of you all this coming fall. David, do you want to add anything to that before I move on?
Yeah, we probably could. I'll warn you guys, my battery is about dead because I'm not plugged them in this other room. So I may have to, you may lose me in a second. But yes, another challenge that we've had is that by printing the actual bulk rate postage, some people are red flagged when you say that you're charging $5.50 for shipping or something like that. And then they show that it shows like $1.10 on the envelope, which is a whole backstory on why that's not actually what we pay for the postage. It's a little frustrating. The post office is an interesting organization to work with. But this upgraded service will be shipping these as parcels, not as flats, so not as bulk rate. So, and it will show actual postage under the parcel rate system. So it will still show like 275, 450, whatever the actual rate is. So I would still encourage you to say that what you're charging for is shipping and handling, not just shipping, because that's an important differentiation and everyone's used to that terminology. But it will show a higher postage rate as well as have the tracking available on those. Because there are certain areas that just don't like the fact that we
And
send
there
those
we
out
go.
as flats, even though they completely match everything and they're frustrating. So let's not go down the rabbit hole on that. That has been my part-time job for the last 2 years, I can guarantee you. So,
David is most excited about this feature update. That's all I'm going to say.
yeah. So, and the other question, will we have an extra option for shipping each envelope FedEx? We don't have that planned at this time. Second sale that's available, you can ship second sale orders via FedEx. The consumer can choose that. But right now, there's no plan to add a FedEx shipped flat at this point. So, but we're always listening, guys. So,
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I actually have encountered this problem a lot, where our local postage, they're getting sent out and then they're getting returned to me. So literally the second sales have been taking like 4 weeks to get to our customers. And I've actually called and talked to Bill Boda and such, but I'm wondering if this is my issue. With you guys are saying you're including the tracking. I'm wondering, can I alleviate the original one then? Because that's what we're needing. Because for whatever reason, our local post office here is stopping it, saying that there wasn't enough postage paid for it and it needed to be done as a first class postal. I literally had probably 30 plus envelopes that I had to go down, pay more shipping, and then ship it to them.
There are pockets of the country that what I have learned over the last 2 years, and I'm going to work very hard to be kind and give credit where credit's due. The local postmaster has a lot of authority. We ship things with an actual post office employee at a mail consolidator in Kansas City as flats. We're trying to get a rate that we can do in volume that is combined with lots of other mail from Kansas City, that from that mail consolidator, they're taking a truck to certain zip codes separate from the post office into those areas. So we're saving the post office a lot of money by doing the work that we are to sort those. But that drives a lower postage rate. And there's certain rules that you have to have as far as the type of envelope, how flexible it is, how much it can bend, all those different things. We are going by, I promise you, every single rule that is published by the US Post Office, every single one. And every time I have called a local post office like you've experienced in your market, it becomes this little Napoleon issue of someone knowing they have the authority and deciding to make up their own rules. Like if the driver has to get out of their truck, then they charge you more, except that's not actually a post office rule. So this is what we've been running into, which is why another reason why we're adding this higher level of postage. If you're struggling in your area with a postmaster that's making up their own rules and saying, no, but you're not charging enough postage when really we are, then we recommend using this higher level postage that will send it as a first class parcel. We're going to weigh it. It's actually all those different rules that it's just sending as a higher, more expensive thing, and it will have tracking.
And that's what they require is the first class parcel. So how do I eliminate it from my second sale so that the original one doesn't, and then it just goes straight to first class parcel so we don't encounter that?
Right now, second sale is a separate project for us to switch over to this other system. Okay. So that will be a different project. Right now, that is still going as flats. But the other thing you can do if you wish is to have a friendly conversation with the local postmaster on some of those rules. And I can engage with you on that. I've had probably 50 of them in the last 2 years. And sometimes they will say, well, okay, and sometimes they won't. So the other thing that we learned, we actually had a postmaster from Arkansas who's going to go into the photography business, come to our boot camp this summer. And so we got to sit down and I bought her a few drinks and I said, all right, you got to help me here because I'm dying. And our customers look bad when they charge $5 for postage. It shows $1.07 and the postmaster says, yeah, they cheaped out on your postage and you need to put more postage on it. It just drives us crazy.
Yeah.
So we actually stopped stamping this summer as an experiment, do not fold on the envelopes, because our bet is that what we found out is that do not fold and do not bend mean the same thing to the post office. And by putting a do not bend or do not fold stamp on something means they automatically consider it a parcel instead of a flat. And we said, but we didn't say do not bend. You can bend it. Look, it bends and everything's fine. And they said, yeah, but there's no terminology for do not fold. And I'm like, okay. So we changed that. We took the stamp off. We've been running an experiment and we've been looking to see, are we getting more damage? And so far we are not. We're not seeing more damage because the rigid mailers are working well and the packaging is working well and the way that they're handling it is working fine. So that may help as well, is if you've been getting some that they want to upgrade just because there's a stamp on it. They say, well, it's like, no, it says don't fold. If it's the same thing to them, then they can nitpick us on that. And so this is part of the joy of the post office. And we're doing our best to add some options and make those subtle adjustments so that they don't kick it into a category that it doesn't belong. So thank you for making the journey with us, and please continue to communicate with us because we're trying to make adjustments so that they'll universally follow the rules that they're supposed to follow.
Okay.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to do some work today on my marketing funnel and also up my fall prepay events. And I always get confused. Like I set up one prepay event just to get back in the swing of things. And I did not enable marketing because I haven't tweaked my marketing funnel for prepays. So what's the right protocol there? When do I have to check that enable marketing so that those communications go out?
That's going to be based on, so this is for a prepay event?
Yeah.
Okay. So to enable marketing for the prospects, leads, or buyers, you're going to want to do that prior to when you want to start your actual campaign. So if you've got email lists that you're going to be loading into the system and you want to start notifying parents 2 weeks before picture day, let's say, then you want to enable marketing before that first email would start going out.
Okay.
So that you can load in your list, and then anytime anyone logs in, we can collect that email information and use that for the lead and buyer campaigns as well.
Okay. So even though I've got the prepay event set up, I have not loaded in the prospect list yet because I haven't got that from the school yet.
Sure.
I can still go back and enable marketing. I just have to make sure that my first marketing communication is set to go out. I don't know. It's so confusing. I'm already confused.
Well, let's talk later today. I'll help you in your particular campaign. But the short version is when you want to start marketing, check the box. And if you get the list after the day before you wanted to send an email, whatever that is, we can talk about that. If you get confused, just call us and we'll be happy to walk you through that. But as soon as you get those emails, go ahead and start loading those in.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So because you all been good boys and girls and you've been here for an hour and a half, oh my gosh, let me give you something back. And so let me talk about some things that are coming up in addition to these new features. I think it's today is the day that we said this is coming. Today's the day that we are migrating from CD delivery on those image packs to web delivery on your image packs. So today's the day that release will be going out in HH schools. So when you see that, you'll want to update, and you may need to update some of your price lists with that. So in there, you're going to see image pack or schools image pack, which is going to replace the image pack CD, and then sports image pack, which will replace the image pack group CD. So the idea with that is they can still get their high-res image with some extra graphic products We've taken this time to update some of those graphic products, so you'll see some new things on there. We're in the process of updating the website as we speak, so you'll get to see what that looks like later today. That'll be going out. So that's both for the schools and for the sports. And so when we say web delivery, what that means is those images and those graphic products will be posted to their second sale account or their second sales event. So when they log in with their passcode, they're going to see not just the image that they've purchased, but also all the other graphic products as well. And if you've not used Image Pack in the past, one thing that's different about this is it not only includes the image itself that you're ordering that pack from, but any other pose of that child that's being ordered from, whether it's a no buy or a print or anything, will also be included as available for download with that Image Pack order. So it'll be the image itself and all those other graphic products rendered out for all the poses that are being ordered for from that particular child. So that's the Image Pack, and that'll be going out today. We're also updating a couple of ID cards. We're adding some additional studio background options for you. We've got a horizontal one and a horizontal studio background only option. We've done that because we're starting to see in a few areas that some of the schools are requesting some suicide prevention hotline information on the back of the card, or emergency response plans on the back of the card, or anti-bullying plans they want on the back of the card. So instead of having to pay for custom setup or layout, you can just use one of those studio background options, load in that graphic you want in the back of the card, and you can order that particular way. So that is on its way and should be out very, very shortly.
Hey, Sean, on the digital download,
Yes.
are teams available?
So that is the sports one. So the sports one will include the images of the individual and the associated group image.
Okay, perfect.
Yep. Good question. Also, we've heard a lot of folks pick up some old Life Touch contracts. One of the products that they seem to love so much was adding those teacher nameplates to go on the outside on the wall that they can kind of slide in with the teacher's image and like a welcome or a in testing, or room needs to be cleaned, those kind of sort of things. We've always had a 1-up that's a non-green screen only. It's just a little 4x10 insert, if you will, a 4x10 print. We've always had that one in there, and it was set up for if it was green screen or not green screen, had a text line, and then you can kind of design everything else. We are now adding a 2-up version also, which is a green screen only, because we're seeing folks, they want to have one that says welcome and another one that says testing in progress, or has, the school name or the school year, the school motto, or some of those sort of things. So that will be coming out very, very soon. That is a knockout only version of that product. So there's not like a border around the image of that teacher. That teacher's extracted image will be in that entire 4x10 design print area. Let's see here. We are migrating, just like the image CD, the Image Pack CDs, the Image Pack group CDs. We're also migrating off of the CD option for delivery for admin products. So yearbook CD, admin CD, those have been available for web delivery, and a lot of folks have migrated to that and seen great success with that and getting their images to the schools faster. That is we're going to see the CD option come off on those, as well as the PDF of ID cards. Instead of putting a CD in with the book, those are now going to be, put on a FTP so that you can download those separately as well. And then the last thing is, and this isn't going to be important now, but it'll be important for your retake days, is we're going to update the pricing on our 36-up stickers. We're not changing to how much they cost. It's still going to be the same per image fee. What we are changing is we're changing to a minimum of 12 stickers per sheet price. The reason why is we're seeing folks order retakes and they're using the same grade, teacher, last name sort for retake day when there's only 10 kids being retake. And what that ends up doing is then you get a stack of 10 sheets for the secretary to kind of organize, and each sheet only has 1 or 2 stickers on it. So it's kind of difficult for the teacher and it's costly for us. And so we are changing to a minimum of 12 stickers per sheet pricing. And so the way that you're going to want to change for your retakes is, instead of doing the grade, teacher, last name, is if there's like 30 kids or less being photographed for retake day, just change that to a last name sort, make that easier on you, make that easier on the secretaries to hand those out. So that is the last change for HH schools. And some updates coming for HH Image Host includes, we're going to add a campaign selection to your event presets. So if you're not using event presets, use event presets. But when you're using event presets for your prepay or second sale events, you are going to be able to load in, what are the 3 campaigns that I want to use when I use this preset. So everyone seems to really love all the additional sales and improved communication that's come with all the marketing campaign stuff we've done. But one of the problems that seems to come up the most is sometimes folks are having trouble calculating the timing of each email based off of the publish date, event date, and expiration date. Sometimes this results in emails not going out exactly as intended or when they're intended. So we think we can make this headache much less painful for you by giving you a set of campaigns that you can tie to the preset. So that way you can stay organized by keeping your 14-day sports second sale campaign organized with your 14-day sports second sale event preset, so that you know when you plug in those event dates that it's going to flow correctly with those marketing campaigns that you're going to be sending out. And you're not accidentally tying them to the 30-day one on accident. So you can keep those things organized and know you've got the right campaign selected for the right event, and it's going to run for the right amount of days and send out at the right time. So that will be coming out very, very soon. Also, with the migration of the image pack from the CD to web delivery, is we also want to take a time, and this is a separate project, we want to make it easier for parents to download a bunch of images when they're downloading those from those second sale sites. So if they get, 10, 15 images with all the graphic products that they want to download, we don't want them to have to go through a checkout process for every single one of those images. We want to make that process as simple as possible, that they can say, I want all of my favorite images that I can download very, very quickly, that it works not only for your phone, but also for my laptop or desktop as well, to make that simple for folks to be able to download and enjoy those photos that they've purchased from you. Let's
Hey,
see
Sean,
here. Yes,
we
Amy.
have some cool, we need to go back to the digital downloads. There's several questions and people are kind of confused about that.
Okay, let's hit me. What do we got?
Okay. So, Sterling, there were a couple people that had, okay. The image pack CDs and there are image pack downloads versus just regular digital downloads. I think there's what's included in those image packs, because some people want to know if class groups are available in the digital downloads. How do you do that? That type of thing.
Yes. So the image download you see in there right now is just the individual image that you order that particular package for or product for, that it will just give you a high-res image on second sale for that parent to download, so that they can pre-order that and get a better price than whenever they order it after the fact. So that right now is just that one image. The image pack, if you've not used image pack before, is that in addition to a bunch of printable and shareable products with that child's image on it, that they can print and download and order from. And so it'll be things like a black and white image, like a Snapchat noir filters type of stuff. There'll be a chore chart that they can download and print. There'll be some iHeart teacher's name for the social media profile photos, some Facebook headers, and just a variety of things that they can print or share on via social media. And so I will get that list. I'll get the link posted to our HH Schools users group later today once those graphics are posted. So you can not only see the list of what is in there, but also what do those things actually look like and what's included with that. So that's the image pack. And so that does not include the class group photo. It's just the individual photo for that pose that's being selected and any other pose for that child that's being ordered from. So if you're selling, 2-3 poses and you want to have a pack that includes all of those images plus some specialty products in there, then this would be a great product for that. What's
But you
different
can
between
but you can also include, like, if you just want people to be able to purchase a class photo, you can offer that separately, correct? Or individually, if you want to offer the.
So you want to sell just a digital download of just the group photo?
Can I jump in on this, Sean?
Sure.
There's two answers to that. One is the capability that Sean will speak to, because honestly, I don't remember. We've changed this so many times, so I'm hoping Sean can remember where we landed. Most people don't choose to sell digital groups, whether it's a team or a class group. And the reason is that as soon as you sell one, you won't sell anymore, because everyone will share it with everybody else. So most people I'm talking to are like, hey, just to confirm, you're not including the class group or the team in this, right? Because they don't want to sell it that way. So as far as capability, that's a different question, because you may have a unique circumstance where you really do want to sell the digital class photo or the team. So capability wise, where did we land on that? Because our intention wasn't to change the capability of these products, but to change the delivery of these products.
Yes.
So Sean, do you remember those details?
Yes. So you're exactly right that the intention is, a lot of folks don't have a family computer anymore. And if they do, they don't have a CD drive on there anymore. So we wanted to add the viability of this product back, that more folks that actually want this, they can buy it, and for a higher rate than if they just wanted the individual image by itself. That being said, with that setup, it's designed to not, the school image pack web delivery is designed to not include a classroom group photo in there. If you're in a situation where you say, I want to be able to include that, talk to us. We can see if there's a way that we can personalize the one for your account, so that you can have a classroom group photo included in there. But it is not set up to do that today. Now, that being said, we do have the Image Pack Sports, which does include the team photo as well as some of those specialty products that I was talking about. Because we do see in folks that are offering this want to include the team photo with that. And so if you're in the opposite situation where you're offering sports and you don't want to include the team photo, then give us a call and we can personalize that image pack for you. We've formatted the way they are because traditionally that's how you all have been ordering them from us by the most part. But if you are in a unique situation where you want something different, then we work with us, as we can personalize those to a certain extent for you.
Okay, thank you. I have another question about the digital download. Does the digital download still include the, I guess, the notification that it comes to the paper slip that has the QR code? Does that still, could you have the option of ordering that or not, or how does that work now?
Yes. So if you've ordered the image download in the past, we would help notify your customers 3 ways. The first is we would print off a 4x10 piece of paper with their image and a QR code and says, you've ordered a download, use this QR code to go order it now into this passcode. This, expires, in 30 days or whatever that date is. So that was delivery notification 1. The second notification is if you had the email and or phone number, then we would also send out an email notification and a text message notification if you put that information in the ship to email and ship to mobile phone fields. So that's how the image download works. We're taking those same notifications and applying that to the image pack as well. So whether you're ordering the image download or the image pack download, you'll still have those 3 great ways that you can notify your customers through the insert, the email, and the phone number. And our thought process behind that was If for some reason the email went to the spam folder and they didn't give you the phone number, or they, didn't look at the text message, that you can still have that physical notification in there in that envelope, so that when parents call you in 2 years and say, "Hey, I never downloaded that. Can you pretty please send that to me?" You've said, I've tried to tell you 3 different ways, and I've put on there when it's going to be expiring, and be as clear as possible to over communicate what the expectation is there.
So question about, when do those notifications, the text and email notifications go out? Is that when it bills out of H&H? Or when
Good
does that come?
question. Thank you for bringing this up. So when does that text message go out, or when does that email get sent out? Those are sent out as soon as the images get pushed to that second sale event, and that second sale event has been published or available for purchasing from, available for sales. So where does that fall in that process from when you send us the order till when the orders get shipped out? Where does that fall? That falls in at the point once any knockout, color correction, and retouching have been completed and saved. At that point is when we send those images to second sale to be published to that site. That's the same time that the images are going to print, and those other various activities. And so the idea there is we want to get those images up as fast as possible, because we know time is important. So those text messages and emails go out, if you have them, will go out usually a day or two before the order's actually shipped out. It's a day or two afterwards. So it's not the shipping date. It's typically going to be a day before that.
Okay. Very good. I think that's all the
good
questions
question. Thank
so
you for
far. If
asking that
anybody,
one.
if I missed anything, speak up.
I'm sure there's lots to come. And so we're going to be publishing a lot of this information specifically about the image packs to the web pages that we talk about the image packs. Not only what are the products and what do they look like, but also some of those types of details we're discussing. And we're also going to send an email out as well with this information to follow up. But if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. We'll be happy to talk through all of that with you. Guys, our hope with all of this is that you can see, what have we been working on? What are some of these new updates? And we hope that you honestly are as excited about them as we are. We're really proud of all these updates and thankful for the partnership that we have with you. Because what this really does is this allows us to do what we really love, and that's help you grow your businesses and help you succeed in this fall. And that's what we're really been working on and striving for through the midst of everything these past couple of years. And it's what we want to continue to do going forward, is taking information like this, seeing the questions you're asking, seeing the comments and the feedback that you're typing in here, and really understanding how we can best help you grow your businesses. And so I hope what you saw today is an encouragement to show you what we have been doing, what we have been listening to, and also to give you hope going forward that we're not going to stop here. We're going to continue to push ourselves to develop and innovate new exciting products and processes to help you grow your businesses and succeed into your markets. But I know products and processes aren't everything. I am excited about all those, but I know none of that really matters if we aren't organized and ready for this fall. So if you're struggling to prepare for this fall, we want to help. It's super critically, vitally important that you are ready for fall before your first picture day shoot. We recommend being ready 2 weeks before your picture day shoot, being ready for picture day. And so we've put together a preseason checklist to help you do just that. We've designed it to be a 6-week setup, so that you can do a little bit each week as you're working on other things. But we know there's not a whole lot of other things going on right now. So this list you can compress and do 1.5, 2 weeks at a time. But really the intention is to use this checklist to be ready a couple weeks before picture day. And so we put this together, and I've got 2 versions, one for schools that I'm going to copy and paste into the list here, into our chat window. So this is schools. If I can spell schools, I can't spell school. Maybe I need to go back. So there's schools. And then the sports one is similar, but obviously we don't need service item products and some of those other things in sports. And so we've got a slightly different version for you for sports. There you go. It's our experience that studios that complete their setup and scheduling 2 weeks before the picture day have dramatically more successful seasons. So take this list, download it, print it off, staple it to your wall, and make this your battle plan to getting ready for this fall. And if you have questions, on there is calling our customer service, making sure that you know how to use your workflows, that you're training your processes. Help us equip you with what you need to succeed this fall. This is our opportunity to turn a page and move forward and not look back. And I'm very excited for that opportunity, and I want you to experience that. So if you're struggling getting ready for this fall, check out those checklists and give us a call so that we can help you get ready for what's going to be a fantastic season in my mind. So those are on there. They're posted on the website. But at the end of the day, guys, we want you to succeed. I hope you see that we really, truly want you to succeed. And that we feel through the education stuff like this, through, just hard work, honestly, there's no getting around that. And a partnership like the one that we have with you guys, that we can help you grow your business and help you achieve the success that you want. So if you haven't, let's go back to this. Take a moment, reflect on the past year, take a moment for yourself, hit the reset button, and use the information and resources you've gotten today to get ready for this fall, and let us know how we can help. Last thing is just make sure, if you aren't, that you've joined the HH Schools Users Facebook group. That's going to be a great community resource for you this fall as we're working through things together. But until next time, my name is Sean Cantrell, and this has been a great conversation with you in your lab. Talk to you guys later.